Testing, testing, testing. Sajma, just confirm that you can hear me and that you can see me, please. Thank you very much.
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you. Welcome, Fahisa. Welcome, Mohammed. I just want to confirm that you can hear me and see me. You can use the chat panel if you like. Please to just let me know. We'll just give it a couple of minutes for the others to join. I appreciate that it's a work day, and of course people are busy. So quick confirmation, please, that you can hear me and see me, everybody. Good evening. I'm going to start the conversation by using the chat panel. Can you see me and hear me? Good. The numbers are getting big. Vincent, how are you? I hope you're well. You can use the chat panel. Sias, welcome to the program. I hope you're all keeping well. Just a confirmation, guys, that you can hear me and see me. Please, that will be great. Mustafa, welcome to the webinar. Thank you for joining in. We'll give it a couple of minutes so that everybody has the opportunity to join in. Oh, by the way, great. Great, Vincent. Guys, just if you have any questions, please do use the chat panel. Type the questions in, and I'll try my level best to pick them up. All right, we're just going to give it 2 more minutes. Just going to wait for a few others to join in. We have, ladies and gentlemen, we have over 100 registrants for this particular webinar. It shouldn't take long. I don't want to take more than half an hour of your time max. And I'm going to try and make this interactive, all right? Unlike other webinars where people just seem to talk to the screen and expect the audience to listen, I'm going to try and have a little bit of participation between myself and you guys, our lovely audience. So let's give it a minute. All right, the numbers are increasing, which is good. We are now up to 8. We were only down to 4 a couple of seconds ago. Something coming. Oh, Mohammed, let me make it absolutely clear. The presentation that I have on my screen and the recording will be shared with each and every registrant or registered participant. Absolutely, Mr. Mohammed, not to worry about that at all. No worries. I should have said that, guys, my name is Amar. I've been, give you a little background whilst we wait for some of the others to join in. Our numbers are going up. This is great. We've now hit double digits. Quick introduction. Like I said, my name is Amar. I've been working at Kaplan. You can see the logo on the top left-hand side of the screen. I've been working for this company called Kaplan for quarter of a century, ladies and gentlemen, 25 years. Of the 25 years, I've spent 23 years in the UK, and I've spent the last 1 year in the Middle East. So that's the story. I'm a tax expert. This is what I do. I've been teaching on tax for 25 years nearly. I teach across many of the UK-based accounting qualifications. And guys, when I arrived in the Middle East, I felt there was a really, really, really big need, for tax training in the Middle East, the UAE in particular. So I decided to develop a couple of diplomas that I will talk to you all about in due course. I think you'll find the information very useful. I will discuss the benefits of that diploma with you all as well. I can tell you, especially with the tax landscape in the Middle East, particularly the UAE, evolving, ladies and gentlemen. I must say, since I've been here in the last 12 months, there have been some very seriously, hugely impactful tax regulation. Can anyone name me one tax legislation which is soon to be released, which is likely to have, I would say, even a bigger impact than VAT? Where am I going with this? Come on, guys, chat to me in the chat panel. Let's be interactive. Anyone know of yeah, you've got it. Thank you, Mr. Aziz. You're absolutely right. Corporate tax is going to be a hugely important legislation released by the Federal Tax Authority. The legislation has been released, but there are still quite a lot of details that are outstanding. And ladies and gentlemen, this legislation will become law in, what is it, 4 months from now, 1st of June, even less than 4 months from now. So it's important. So this is a really good time to to appreciate how the tax legislation is likely to impact your business. All right. Now, I'll tell you what we are going to do at Kaplan to help you navigate this rather complex and potentially costly journey. All right. At Kaplan, what we do, ladies and gentlemen, we design courses, we develop courses, we get them accredited by, well, I have to be honest with you, one of the largest and most sought after, respectful accreditation bodies from the United Kingdom. So these diplomas that we have, ladies and gentlemen, are accredited by an international body. So it's really important. My aim, this is my objective. My objective is to make sure everybody in the UAE who is impacted either by VAT, we're going to discuss VAT in a minute, or by corporate tax. My aim is to help you navigate that journey. You have to understand the implications, the rules, the regulations of the tax landscape in the UAE and how it affects you. It is my responsibility of the head of taxation at Kaplan to make sure that journey is as smooth as possible from a learning perspective, from an understanding perspective for each and every one of you. It really is important for me. And I'll get to what we're doing about it. Now, I'm going to ask you another question. Ladies and gentlemen, the theme of today's webinar is, are you VAT compliant? So can somebody help me out? Firstly, why is it important to be VAT compliant? Help me out. All right, let's do this. 20 minutes, 25 minutes of your time. That's what I'm going to take. So help me out. Why is it important for you to be tax compliant, whether it's VAT, whether it's excise tax, or whether it is corporate tax, which is going to be introduced very shortly? Why would you need to be compliant? What's the problem with non-compliance? Yeah, thank you, Mohammed. To reduce the fine from the FTA. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. How does the FTA know that you made an error or a mistake, or you are non-compliant with regards to the VAT rules and regulations? Somebody's going to help me out. How will the FTA ever find out? There are so many businesses in the UAE, so many businesses that are in the business of, selling goods and services. How will the FTA ever know that you are non-compliant? That's my question. Yeah, based on criteria or condition, you're right. But I have a very general question, ladies and gentlemen, that I'd like to ask you. How will the FTA ever find out? Yeah. Okay, Mustafa, thank you. Mohammed, thank you so much. These are really good answers. But keep it simple, guys. All right, maybe I should change my question. With the TRN number, thank you, the tax registration number, compliant with the returns based on criteria, condition, or I'll tell you what, I'm going to try and I agree. Now, let me give you an example. Ladies and gentlemen, I've completed a tax return. All right, I'm registered for VAT. I have a tax registration number. I have completed my tax return and I've submitted my tax return to the Federal Tax Authority. You know the process. This is all done online. You got to fill out a few boxes. I've also submitted all the documentation which is required from the FTA. Ladies and gentlemen, am I compliant or not? What do you reckon? I've submitted a tax return and I've submitted the documentation that explains my sales and all of my purchases and expenses in the period. You know where I'm heading, right? So I've given them all my receipts, all my sales receipts and all my purchase receipts that I'm making a claim on have been submitted. Right, so let me give you, guys, let me give you an example. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to make it very simple, and this is important. I'm trying to push you towards something. In a quarter, let's supposing I count for VAT every calendar quarter, all right? So my calendar quarter is January to March. And ladies and gentlemen, in January to March, I have 20 sales invoices that I have issued to customers. All right, I'm giving you a story. I'm a small business. I've issued 20 sales invoices to customers. All right. However, I've only uploaded 15 of them on the FTA portal, and I have shown the documentation for 15 of them. All right, ladies and gentlemen, when will the FTA ever find out that I had actually issued 20 invoices but only uploaded 15? Somebody's going to help me out. I'm just keeping it simple. Don't worry about anything else. Somebody give me the answer. When does the FTA ever find out whether or not a business is or is not compliant? When they reconcile. Well, how are the business? Can I ask you, when does the FTA reconcile your documentation? How will the FTA ever know that you had 20? End of the VAT period? Well, you know, if I've only given them the documentation for 15 invoices, they wouldn't know that I haven't issued the other 5, or they wouldn't have the details for the other 5. Yeah, within the next 28 days, that's the payment detail. That's correct. Now, I'll tell you what I'm trying to get at. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe there is something that the FTA must do, and I'll give you a little hint. They're planning to do this for every business in the UAE within 5 years. What am I referring to? Anyone know what that is? How will the FTA know that you are non-compliant? You've given me some good points here, but how will the FTA really know what's going on in your business? Reconciliation is something you do, not the FTA. Anyone know the answer? There's something that the FTA... Yeah, but it's very difficult. E-invoicing like the Saudi follows. I agree, all of this. But I'm going to ask your help. Guys, I agree, but it's not easy. Guys, it's not easy to follow the other person's purchases, right? Because it's not easy. There is something that the FTA have said that they will do once every 5 years for every business in the UAE, and that is really the acid test. Anyone know what I'm referring to for the FTA? If I ask you, how will the FTA know whether a business is compliant? There's something that the FTA has to carry out. Thank you very much, Prakash. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, please have a look at your chat panel and have a look at what Prakash has said. He's correct about the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia have recently introduced an e-invoicing system. You're quite right, Prakash. Recently, in fact, there was a version, an updated version, 1st of January. But the answer is the FTA audit. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the reason why you have to be sure that you are VAT compliant. Why? Well, here's the reason why. How does the FTA find out? when the FTA do a compliance, when the FTA do an audit, the FTA will have a look at all of your documentation. And ladies and gentlemen, I mean everything. All right. By the way, just to give you an idea, if you're not sure whether a certain documentation is needed for an FTA audit, I would say include it, because the chances are it will be needed. All right, let me make that clear. All your documentation is checked. Does anyone know the notice that the FTA need to give businesses that they're about to conduct an audit? Does anyone know? How long do they give a business? This might come as a shock to you. Got lots of people on the pro. So that's good. Anyone know how long that the FTA? What is the minimum duration that the FTA must give a business prior to conducting an audit? Well, I'm going to go through it. Are you ready, guys? This is it. So, are you VAT compliant? Well, you better be, because if you're not, as you guys said, if you're not, there are fines, there's penalties, it affects your business's reputation. And ladies and gentlemen, you want to make sure that you are not in the news for the wrong reasons. You don't want to be the wrong side of the FTA. You don't. So why is it so important that you're VAT compliant? Ladies and gentlemen, here's the reason why. Yeah, Mian, you've got it. Brilliant. Guys, here we go. Thank you, Mian, for the answer. Guys, here you go. FTA tax audit. Here's the reason why it's vital that you are tax compliant. Why? Because the FTA will conduct an audit. The FTA have said that they will conduct an audit within 5 years of your business registering for VAT, within 5 years. All right, anytime within 5 years. Why does the FTA carry out an audit? Guys, this is how the FTA know whether or not you have been compliant. The answer is to make sure that the businesses in the UAE comply. And ladies and gentlemen, you know what I'm about to say. If the business is non-compliant, who's losing out on revenue? Anyone? If a business is non-compliant, who's losing out? The answer is the FTA. And I can tell you, there's one thing that the FTA do not like. Answer: to lose out on revenue which is owed to them, tax which is owed to them. Why? Because the FTA and the Ministry of Finance need those receipts, ladies and gentlemen. They use that money to invest in the infrastructure of the United Arab Emirates. It is very important for the economy to grow as a whole, for the UAE to have a robust tax system and a system where everybody pays their fair share of VAT that is due. It's very important. How does the FTA make sure? Tax audit. How often? Once every 5 years, guys. Ooh, look at that. By the way, if you run a business, the FTA just needs to inform you 5 days before the visit. By the way, it's 5 business days. So you're looking at a week, right? If you include the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, which is the weekend now, isn't it? So guys, that's it. You got 5 days. This is really important. So you got to make sure, if you're a business, you have all your paperwork ready at all times, guys, at all times. Now, guys, did you know this? Do you know that the tax officers, when they come and visit your premises to do a tax audit, do you know they can close your business down for 3 full days without prior notice? Did you know that? Now, this is going to be hugely impactful. Does anyone know, by the way, it's not in every case, it's under extreme cases. Can anyone give me a reason why a business might be closed down for 72 hours when the tax officers come to do an audit? Anyone give me a reason why? Under what scenario would the FTA do it? Come on, help me out. Let's talk. Let's chat and get this over and done with. I want you all to be aware of this. Well, guys, two reasons. Number one, if the FTA believe, let me make it clear. If the FTA believe that keeping the business open will hinder their audit in any way, they will close it for 72 hours. And the main reason, ladies and gentlemen, is if the FTA has received a tip-off, and the tip-off is that the business is not avoiding tax, but evading tax. Tax evasion is a serious criminal offense, and the owners of the business can go behind bars. If the FTA believe the business is involved in any form of tax evasion, they're going to close your business down for 72 hours. It's important. Now, how long does an audit take? Guys, it says it will be completed within 20 business days, but normally it takes a lot less than that. But, you know, this is a long period, guys. You're running your business, the FTA come over, it could take 20 business days. And guys, the results, once the FTA have completed the audit, they're meant to give you their verdict within 10 business days from the end of the audit. It is useful for you to know all of this because it's important to know you need to be compliant, because if you're not, there are going to be fines and penalties, and the FTA will find out you're not compliant if they do an audit. When they do an audit, and they will do an audit, guys, every business goes through an audit, and note, they don't have to give you much notice. So you got to make sure all your documentation is always nicely filed, nicely labeled. You have access to it at all times, just in case the FTA asks for it. Let's move on. Any questions? How are you doing, guys? How are you doing? I'm not going to go through this in the detail. Guys, I'm going to share this presentation with each and every one of you. Each and every one of you will get it. But I'll tell you what I've highlighted. You might be aware of this. A cabinet decision, I think it was number 40, was taken in 2017. Don't quote me on it, but I think it was cabinet decision number 40 of 2017, which listed all the fines and penalties related to VAT. All right, everything to do with VAT. In 2021, they amended it. And I think they made, this is through another cabinet decision. I think this was cabinet decision number 49 of 2021, which became effective on the 29th of June 21. Don't quote me on it, but I think that's the storyline, I think. Guys, in June 21, they amended the returns quite dramatically. So I'd like to go through a couple of them, and I'd like you to be aware of the kind of penalties that could be faced by a business. All right, are you ready? Guys, here you go. Let's have a look at a few of them. Guys, if you fail to register for VAT on time, the penalty is 10,000 dirhams. That's a lot of money. All right, guys. Now, you should be aware of the registration rules. I'm not going to cover that today, but like I told you, we have a diploma that does all of this. But the penalty is 10,000. Does anyone know what the penalty was in 2017 when the rules were introduced? The penalty was reduced to 10,000 in 2021. Does anyone know what the penalty was initially? Anybody? Just having a discussion. Right. Well, guys, the answer was 20,000. Wow, that's a lot of, that's a huge figure, isn't it? You're starting off your business, you failed to register for VAT, and the penalty was 20,000. Guys, can somebody give me the answer? What is the best way of avoiding a penalty? You only incur a penalty if you haven't registered for VAT once your turnover crosses 375,000. You know that. Does anyone know one way of avoiding a penalty relating to registration. What were most businesses advised to do in 2017 when VAT was about to be introduced? I need some help. By the way, I've only been in the UAE for 12 months. I've done all of this through research, right? This is what we do. And it's a good story. This is an important topic. You need to know this. Anyone? How do you avoid a penalty? The answer is don't wait for your turnover to cross 375. Don't wait. You can register for VAT voluntarily if your turnover crosses 187,500. If you register for it voluntarily, you will never be in a position where you have failed to register for VAT on time. So a lot of businesses register for VAT voluntarily. Right. Let me give you another story. Guys, I've just told you, ladies and gentlemen, I just told you, if you are running a business in the UAE, or if you're working for a business as an employee, does anyone know how long you must keep these records for? All your records, business, non-business, relating to taxable supplies, exempt supplies, all of your credit notes, anything that you can talk about, anything relating to your business and non-business. Anyone know the answer? How long must you keep the records for? Minimum period. By the way, it's at the bottom of the screen. Can you see my screen? I'm hoping you can see my screen. What does it say at the bottom, guys? All right, nobody's talking to me, so I'll go through it. I thought an interactive version would be a lot better. Guys, 5 years. Does anyone know why there is a... so let me make that point clear. You must keep your records for a minimum. This is minimum for 5 years. You know why it's 5 years? You all know why it's 5 years. What must the FTA do on every business within 5 years? What did we say? There's a reason why it's 5 years. Ladies and gentlemen, an FTA has to conduct an audit within 5 years of your business registering. So guess what? You got to keep your records for at least 5 years, because within that period, the FTA would have audited you. That's the answer. Now, just remember though, if you fail to keep the records, there are penalties. 1,000 for the first time, 2,000 for repetition. Now these have been reduced again. They were a lot higher. I think it was 3,000 and 5,000 before. Just giving you a story. By the way, I'm going to share all of this with you. I'll tell you what I enjoy though. The bit that I really like. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just make this clear. All right, let me make this clear. If you've submitted a VAT return, all right, don't forget, guys, if you submit a VAT return and once you do your reconciliation, every business should do a reconciliation, I would say at least twice a year, at least, if not more. What are you reconciling? You're reconciling just to check that what you submitted to the FTA is correct, ladies and gentlemen. And if it's not correct, what should you be advised to do? The answer is, if you've submitted a return in error, and once you've conducted your review, your reconciliation, and you realized that there's been a mistake, guys, you should voluntarily disclose it. And these rules were introduced in 2020. There were big changes to the rules, and there they are. I want you to have a look at this last screens in here, guys. The last box. Oops, let me just go back. Last box. Are you ready, guys? If this is your first voluntary disclosure, the fixed penalty is 1,000. All right. Guys, there's also a variable penalty where the FTA will charge you at least 5%, and it can ask you, and it can go up to 40% of your outstanding VAT of the figure that you underpaid, of your underpayment, depending on how long it took you to disclose the error. So if you disclose the error, guys, in the first year, the penalty is only 5%. If you disclose the error 2 years later, so the second year, then it's 10%. In the third year, it's 20, In the fourth year, it's 30, and in the fifth year, it's 40%. So guys, it's very important for you to continually reconcile. Keep checking, yeah? I hope you submitted the right return, because if you haven't, and it's been a long time since you've submitted the return, your penalty could be a massive 40% of the understated amount. Wow, you got to be careful. Now, the good news is, I just want to make this clear. Guys, these were all introduced lately. Once you disclose the error, let me make this clear. So there are two things. You made a mistake, you voluntarily disclose it. There's a fixed penalty of 1,000. I'm assuming this is your first time. And if you've disclosed it within the year, there's another penalty of 5%, variable penalty. Now, once you've disclosed it, ladies and gentlemen, you've been given 20 days to make the payment, to pay the difference, to make that payment. If you don't make that payment within 20 days, ladies and gentlemen, there is also penalty for late payment. Wow. And the penalty for late payment, I hope you can see this at the bottom of my screen, guys. The penalty for late payment is 2%. Once you cross the 20 days, you got to pay a penalty of 2%. Once you've crossed a month, yeah, so if you're more than 1 month late, yeah, so just remember, you get 20 days to pay it. If you take 21 days to pay it, there's a late payment penalty of 2%. If you are more than a month late, then guys, it's 4% per month. All right, so there's a lot of penalties here. This is voluntary. Now, I just want to do one more, and then I want to give you a question, and then we move on. All right, literally 10 minutes of your time. You've been absolutely brilliant, very patient. Let me make this clear. Ladies and gentlemen, you submitted a VAT return incorrectly, and you never found out during your reconciliation process. All right, you never found out there was an error. So you never voluntarily disclosed it to the FTA. I've just talked to you about the penalties for voluntary disclosure. Remember the penalties? 1,000 fixed, and then 5% to 40%, depending on how long it took you to disclose that error voluntarily. All right. And of course, once you disclose it, please make sure you pay it within 20 days. Otherwise, there's late penalty charges. Now, I'll tell you why it's so important. If you haven't voluntarily disclosed the error, and the error was identified by the FTA following an audit, oh, ladies and gentlemen, then the penalties are massive. It's a lot more than voluntary disclosure. Are you ready? Have a look at it. The fixed penalties are the same, but look at the variable penalties. Wow, guys, if the FTA finds your error, so you didn't voluntarily disclose it, the FTA found it following an audit, the penalty they will charge you for the underpayment is 50% of the underpaid tax, along with 4% of the underpaid tax per month from the due date of the VAT return. All right, so whichever period you made the error in, they will charge you 50% plus 4%. Wow. By the way, this could be a very large figure. So it's very important to be VAT compliant. And like I said, I'll give you my details at the end, guys. Get in touch if you have any questions, so on and so forth. All right, so now I want to do an example. By the way, I've listed some really good penalties and some deadlines that you should all be aware of if you've been dealing with VAT. I will share this presentation with you all. I can tell you what's on these slides is what we cover on our diploma course. Within our diploma course, we have a very important section called VAT administration. And in there, these are what I discussed. Let me give you an example. Somebody's going to give me the answer. So guys, just to recap for the VAT administration, penalties for late payment. All right, guys, remember, once you have, this is to do with disclosure. Once you have voluntarily disclosed of an error, you got 20 days to settle it. If you take more than 20 days, there is a penalty for late payment, 2%. If you take more than a month, it's 4%. Maximum is 300%. All right, guys, that's the general rule. Now, if you're late in payment, don't forget disclosure after the taxpayer is notified. Remember, I talked about what happens if the error was found out by the FTA following an audit, not because you guys managed to find out yourself during the so important you do the reconciliation thoroughly. Voluntary disclosure costs you way less than disclosure by the FTA. If the FTA finds out, it costs you a lot more. And I've just discussed it, 1,000 for first time, 2,000 for reputation, 50% plus 4%. So shall we do an example? I want you to be aware of it. Guys, there's a guy called Mr. Qasim. Mr. Qasim is a sole trader registered for VAT, of course, in the UAE. That's the assumption. He submitted a VAT return which showed output tax of 360,000 dirhams and input tax of 112,000 dirhams. Guys, he paid it. Following a VAT audit. So a VAT audit happened through the FTA. And this audit happened. It took 5 months. This is 5 months after the due date. All right. So this is 5 months later. A VAT audit took place, and the tax officers, guys, identified that the output tax of 410,000 and input tax of 127,000 should have been reported. Ladies and gentlemen, we have understated our VAT. And look what it tells you. Mr. Qasim, upon being notified of this assessment, cleared the amount. Ladies and gentlemen, he cleared the difference. He paid it, but it took him 25 business days after the tax assessment. My question is, ladies and gentlemen, what is the maximum penalty which should be charged on the assumption that this is Mr. Qasim's first attempt? Guys, please, somebody remind me. I'm going to ask you for your help. Please type it in. We're nearly done, by the way. We're nearly done. Yeah, just another 5-7 minutes or so. Guys, what is the fixed penalty for first offense? Anyone type this in with me if you're still with me? I'm hoping you're still with me, enjoying it. Don't forget to type questions if you have in the chat panel. Anyone, what's the penalty for fixed penalty? Thank you, Ushan. Good answer. Thank you. Now, second question. Ladies and gentlemen, was the error voluntarily disclosed, or was it identified by the FTA following an audit? That's a very important point. Come on, somebody help me out. Voluntary or involuntary, i.e. the FTA found out? Yeah, don't need to raise a hand. Yeah, absolutely involuntary. Thank you. And guys, I don't know whether you have a calculator with you, but I have my phone here. All right, I have my phone here. I'm just going to do something. Guys, does anyone know what the underpayment is? Just 2 minutes of your time. This is important. By the way, Mr. Qasim had output tax of 360,000 and input tax of 112,000. That's 248,000 is the amount of VAT that was actually paid. However, the auditor said 248 is not correct. The correct figure should be 410 minus 127. The correct figure should be 283 and not 248. Guys, the amount of the understatement is 35,000 dirhams. Now, can somebody please tell me what will be the penalty that will be charged on the underpayment of 35,000, given the fact that this is involuntary? The FTA found out. Anyone remind me? What's the variable penalty, please? I'm going to go back to the previous slide. Guys, the variable penalty is 50% of the underpayment of tax. The underpayment tax is 35,000. So the variable penalty would be 50% of that plus 4% for each month that you were late? Can somebody give me the answer? How many months later did we settle the VAT? Anyone help me out? In essence, how many months have elapsed? Well, I think the question tells you 5 months after the due date. So, wow. Guys, are you ready for the penalty? 1,000 plus 50% of 35,000 plus 4% on the 35,000 for 5 months. I have one last question. If somebody can help me out, we are done pretty much. Then I want to just discuss a couple of other points. Ladies and gentlemen, can you give me the answer? Just remind me, how many days does Mr. Qasim has available to pay that outstanding amount in order to not incur a further penalty for late payment? Anyone remind me, how many business days do you have to pay the outstanding amount once it has been identified? 20 days, 20 business days. Yeah, Mustafa, I think 30 days would be the total, but 20 business days. Ladies and gentlemen, can I ask you a question? Has Mr. Qasim paid that difference within 20 business days, or did it take him longer than 20 business days to pay that 35,000? Wow, this is crazy. Guys, this is crazy. It took him 25 business days to pay that amount. So there's also a penalty of late payment. And ladies and gentlemen, just so that you're all happy, if it takes you more than 20 days to pay the VAT, but not more than a month. So I think it took them 25 days, right? So that's more than 20, but not more than a month. So guys, there's a further penalty of 2% for late payment. Are you ready? Here's the answer. Tell me if this makes sense. By the way, this is the kind of stuff we do on our diploma. There you go. The amount actually paid was 248. The amount that should have been paid is 283. The difference is 35,000. Ladies and gentlemen, this was involuntary disclosure. The FTA found this out. You did not find it out. The FTA found it out. So what's the penalty? Guys, first offense. That should say 1,000, shouldn't it? Not 2,000. I do beg your pardon. Yeah, first offense. So, guys, I'll change it. Don't worry. It's 1,000 plus 4% for each month on the underpayment tax. Guys, the underpayment tax was 35,000. 35,000, 4% times 5 is 4% per month, guys. Wow, that's another 7,000. Plus, don't forget, 50% of the underpayment tax as it was discovered following the tax audit. So that's another 17,500. Plus, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Qasim never paid the 35,000 within 20 days. It took him 25 business days. So there's another 2% on the 35,000. Wow, guys, what's the maximum penalty? I am going to change this, ladies and gentlemen. I will change it, and then I will put it up. There's only one little issue here. I hope you all agree that should be 1,000. That should be 1,000, and that figure should be 26,200. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, this is my point. Just have a look, guys. Have a look. This business underpaid their VAT by 35,000. 35,000 is the amount of the underpayment. Guess what the penalties were on the 35,000? 26,200. Guys, you know what 26,200 is? Divided by 35,000. That is 75% more. Mr. Qasim had to pay 75% more than what he actually owed in the form of penalties. That's a lot. I hope you all agree. Right. Did you find that useful? I'm hoping you did. Guys, my last point, and just literally 2-3 minutes of your time. I hope you found that useful. Did you? Mohammed, thank you. I'm just giving you a general idea. By the way, a lot of people don't understand this. I know businesses that don't understand this. They just don't understand how these penalty regimes are worked out. And I hope you all agree. being VAT compliant is vital. If you're not, you're in serious trouble. 75% penalty. Wow, that's a lot. Thank you, Salman. Thanks, Mohammed. And ladies and gentlemen, just a quick point. Like I said, we run an unbelievable, I believe so, this is my personal belief. We run a really good diploma on VAT. Every rule and regulation, like I've discussed, is covered. It's covered over us. It's only 8 days long. It's 8 days. That's it. And it's covered in 3 stages. I'll send you all of this. There's an outline for the VAT diploma. Ladies and gentlemen, we have also started, and it's very popular. Let me make it clear. It is very popular. We've also started a corporate income tax diploma, guys. These are all diplomas, right? This is the corporate tax. It's going to have that heading here. Program outline. Again, very similar. Guys, all the rules and regulations for VAT and corporate tax is covered in 8 days and 8 days. In 16 days, you can have an internationally accredited diploma for VAT and corporate tax. And I can tell you, it greatly enhances the chances of employment. Let me make that clear. I'm not selling it. I'm just telling you what it is. And I can tell you, we are one of the only 2 institutions that I know in the UAE that have an accreditations for the diploma and international accreditation for the diploma. So it's really important. And I can tell you, guys, you can do the diploma face-to-face or online. It's your choice. It's only 8 days for VAT and 8 days for corporate tax. And guys, this is the kind of certificate you get. The institution awarding these diplomas is a UK institution regulated by Ofqual called NOCN. It's one of the top 10 in the world, ladies and gentlemen. It's a massive, very successful, highly reputable brand name. So, this diploma is not from us. It's in conjunction with us, but it's issued by the NOCN, which is a UK-based organization. You can Google it if you like. It really is top level. And guys, this is why I think our programs are the best. Not only are they internationally recognized, not only do you get them done in 8 days, but our fee is unbeatable. The VAT diploma is 3,500 dirhams. The corporate tax diploma is 6,500 dirhams. Ladies and gentlemen, we are starting a VAT diploma on the 25th of February. If you're interested, get on. We're starting a corporate income tax diploma on the 5th of March. That is starting in Abu Dhabi, but you can also do it online from Dubai. And guys, the CIT diploma is 6,500. The VAT diploma is 3,500. It's 10,000 in total. But guess what? If you book on both, you get a combo price of 8,000 dirhams. By the way, this is unbeatable as far as I'm concerned. There isn't anybody out there who's giving you an internationally recognized diploma for less. And that's all I'm going to say. If you enjoyed the classes, by the way, this is the way we teach them in class, right? This is my baby. I've designed the materials. I've created the programs, ladies and gentlemen, and I want you all to benefit from it. So if you're interested, get in touch. I will promise you one thing, and that is we will be sharing the presentation with each and every one of you, including a recording of what I've done today. And as a bonus of coming onto this particular, giving up your evening, and I thank you for it, you will also be given a discount on these prices should you wish to enroll. All right, that's all I'm going to say. Thanks, Sajman. Guys, I hope you found it useful. It's 7:51. Any questions for me? You can type in the chat panel or you can ask later on. Guys, like I said, all of this stuff will be shared with you all, and you'll get a special discount offer for registering for this diploma. For registering for this webinar, not the diploma. I do beg your pardon. For registering for the diploma, we will issue a discount. I'm not entirely sure what that is, but you'll get it on an email. So look out for it, ladies and gentlemen. Guys, you've been absolutely brilliant. Thank you for listening. I hope you found it useful. Any questions, shout out in the chat panel. Otherwise, I wish you all a very pleasant evening. Mohammed, I would love to have issued you a webinar certificate, but I think that would be stretching it a little bit. But that's a really good thought. We don't really issue a webinar certificate, but thank you for asking. Thank you for asking. I hope you found it useful, though, guys. And I hope you can do this. By the way, let me make it clear: we'll be running VAT and corporate tax diplomas throughout the year. So if you can't join in the next session, there will be many sessions that you can join in later on, and we will, and the discount will still be available because you enrolled on this webinar. So good news. Yeah, you'll get it, Mohammed. Watch this space, and email will be sent out with the discount. Thanks, Sajma. Thank you all. Guys, any other questions for me? Are you all happy with that? I hope you found it useful. I look forward to seeing you at some point. Get in touch if you have any questions about VAT, about corporate tax. Please ask us. This is your opportunity to get ahead of the game. Corporate tax is coming in a big way, guys. This is your opportunity. Thank you. Thank you so much. All the best. Thank you for taking out your evening. Thank you all. Take care, guys. If anyone's got a question, do ask, but I'm hoping you found that useful. Great. Thank you. Cheers, Vincent. Take care. Thank you. Cheers, everybody. Thank you.